Welcome to the Brain Picker Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina, and all the way on the other end of the country up in Utah is my good friend Chris Miles. This guy is a mover, a shaker. He's got a podcast, The Money Show. It's just awesome, man. This guy is he's moving around. He's got so much going on, and he's got so much to teach and share. And he's had me on his podcast, so I wanted to get him on. When I was learning a little bit about what he does and how he does it, I said, man, my people got to learn this. They need to know this. Chris, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man.
What's going on?
I'm just loving life, I'm just here in Utah, but getting ready to go to LA here pretty soon.
Oh, cool. That's good. Now, do you go back and forth and live in both places?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, like LA is just to go be a keynote speaker at an event.
Cool.
But yeah, actually, every winter we go and snowbird each year. So anywhere warmer. So it could be. I mean, this year we're going to Hawaii for part of it, and then either California or Arizona for the second part. Last year was Texas. Year before that was California. So just
wow, that's cool. Now, do you have an RV?
No, we just go and Airbnb.
That's really cool. I love it. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Who is Chris Miles?
I am a reformed anti-financial advisor. So basically, I started out being the traditional financial advisor back in 2002, just right after Y2K,
right.
9/11, all that stuff.
And
I did that for 4 years, and I like teach people about money, but I realized pretty quickly it's a bunch of crap. Like you really can't
point, right?
Yeah, like you cannot retire on that kind of stuff. Like that, I mean, I ran the numbers any way possible. I mean, unless you pretty much, fluff numbers, which is what financial advisors have to do to make you feel hopeful.
Right.
There's no way that it's going to work. And I remember I met some millionaires back in 2006, and that was a shift for me because I thought, man, like obviously I want to be what they're doing. And some of them were in their 20s and 30s, and then a lot of them were doing like real estate investing and different stuff with business. And I thought, man, well, maybe I should learn what they're doing versus what all these broke financial advisors are telling me to do, right?
Right.
Or what I was telling people to do as a broke financial advisor. And so I did. I ended up eventually quitting. March of 2006, quit being a financial advisor when I was at the height of my practice. And then 4 months later, I was able to retire when I was 28 years old. And it happened so quickly, so easily, it shocked me. And it shocked everybody else, right?
And that's been a while, right?
Yeah, that was 12 years ago, Yeah, exactly. There's a lot more gray hairs now.
Right.
And I've been through it all. I mean, I went through the recession. The ambition of my 20s caught up to me in my 30s, and thought I had the Midas touch, and everything I would touch turned to gold, and so I took unnecessary risks. And I remember in the recession, like I went from millionaire to upside down millionaire, and over $1 million in debt, $60,000 in the hole each month, and had to battle back out of that with no money and no credit, and did eventually paid those debts off. And 2 years ago, I was able to retire again, but this time with a lot more passive income than I had before. So now I just work 10 to 20 hours a week doing what I love and, teaching. And that's why I do my podcast, Chris Miles Money Show, and just loving life.
That's sweet, man. I love it. So what kind of investing are you doing?
I have business streams of income I have coming in. I have about 14 different streams of income. Some of them through business. I've got some with real estate. I've got some notes. I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff. So I'm even looking at oil and gas for this year, especially for the tax breaks and that kind of things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really good, man. That's good. Now, you really, I mean, you kind of specialize in helping people figure out what is the right investment for you, right?
Yeah.
For each individual person. Tell us a little bit about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So back in the day, back about the time I retired, I was also stock coaching. I was teaching people how to trade stocks and options.
Right.
And I realized pretty quickly it was a gamble, right? And my whole job was just to get people to gamble less, because I knew even trading in the stock market, you're violating real principles of wealth.
Right.
High risk does not create high return. That's false. There's no way a 90% chance of losing creates a 90% chance of winning, right? Last I heard, that doesn't add up to 100,
Right.
It's 90% chance of losing equals 10% chance of winning, and that's why most people don't win. And so I remember when I was teaching people how to do that, I would ask them, well, why did you pick this? Why did you want to do stock investing? And a lot of them would say different things. I mean, they wanted freedom. They wanted control just like everybody else, right? They wanted their time back, their family.
Right.
But some of them were even just said, I just hate dealing with people. I don't have to deal with people anymore. I just want to be on a computer and, ostracize the world, so to speak. And what I found was the ones that actually made money, like, and I coached over 200 people. The ones that, I mean, they made pretty good money while I was keeping them accountable and holding their hands and stuff. But when
Right.
they're on their own, only ones that really truly made more money and got better were the ones that loved it regardless of the money. And I noticed that was a common thread. The ones who are just doing it for a paycheck, they kind of found out they didn't really like it that much, right? Because they didn't even like having to go on the computer for 20, 30 minutes a day. Even though that's all it took. They
Right.
didn't want to have to do that because they just wanted the money, right? And as a result, they would make dumb emotional decisions.
Yeah.
And so I found out that, and this is true with real estate investing or any kind of investing, even in business and everything, right?
Right.
Is that if you do something for more than just the money, you have a much higher odds of success than those that just try to get another paycheck. Because, I mean, why would you go and do an investment only for a paycheck? I mean, that's like going from one job to the next, right? And so a big thing that I focus on with people is like, yeah, there's so many options, so many investments you could do, but what's the right one for you, right? Like, what's the one that really like kind of lights you up? You don't have to have like this lifelong mission. Like it's like this, life mission that you have to do that investment. It could be, and that's great, but it might just be that you're really intrigued by it, right?
Right.
And I do agree. Like, I think real estate should be a part of just about any portfolio. But I've got clients where some of them say, you know what, I really don't want to do a lot of real estate investing. Maybe I'll own my own house. Maybe I'll buy a property or two. But I actually think oil and gas is fun. Like, I want to get into that.
Right.
Or
Right.
maybe I want to go more into this line with my business, whatever it might be. Like, you want to do whatever is going to be the thing that you'll do regardless of the money that you would do, even if you're retired, right? And that's how you know you can become financially free. You don't want to be doing something you hate when you're supposedly out of the rat race, right?
That's so true. I love real estate. I used to be a stockbroker as well back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And but I know now why they call it a broker, right?
Yeah. The broker than you and I are, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
But that's so true. But the thing about it is I used to invest in the stock market, and I don't have any control over that. Maybe I just didn't take the time to learn as much as I could or should. But real estate is my passion. I love real estate. But even in real estate, now that I know real estate is what I do, what I want to do, what I love, there are several things that I don't do in real estate, and I'll never do it again. And you can't make me. You can't make me. That's
right.
Short sales, rehabs, and tenants. I don't do any of those three, right?
Yep.
So I think that's a big thing, pointing out, like, if I had to sit in front of the computer and on the phone and work short sales every day, man, I'd rather go flip burgers at McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you help people determine what is the right investment for them.
A great question that I remember somebody asked me back in 2006, right before I ended up retiring the first time, right? He asked me, he basically just said, if money were no longer an issue in your life, what would you want to spend your time doing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's an awesome question. Because most people never think that far ahead. Some people just try to get to the point of, how can I just get out of the rat race? How do I get that extra $10,000, $20,000 a month passive income so I can retire? But I'll tell you from my own experience and doing it twice, right? When you get there, it's a shock. Especially the first time, I had no clue. I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? What am I going to do with this time and these resources?
Right. Because
I lacked clarity, I just kept doing the same thing. I kept doing that stock coaching, for example. It was all gravy at that point, but I just kept doing it. And I'll tell you, like, if you really get deep into, okay, well, what would I do with my time? And by the way, my answer to that guy the first time was, well, I guess I'd travel more, which I always know what people lack in their life when they tell me, oh, I want to spend more time with my family. Oh, so you're not spending time with your family. I want to travel more. Oh, so you're not traveling at all right now, right? Like, it's always what they don't have. But I remember he asked me when I said travel more. He's like, he kind of looked at me with this disbelief. He said, yeah, but what are you going to do the other 45 weeks out of the year? He's like, sure, you're going to travel, but you're going to travel every single day of your life, are you?
Right.
Like, well, no, that's exhausting. He's like, well, what else would you do? Like, what would you spend the majority of your time doing?
Right.
And I was like, well, I don't know. I probably would just teach ballroom dancing. And yeah, I would teach ballroom dancing, I guess, because I used to be one of the nation's top amateur dancers.
Wow, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, finance, dance, they all kind of the same, right?
That's awesome. I love it.
So yeah, so I kind of started going down that route, and I started doing that actually even before I was there. I started because it's like, well, why wait? Why not just start it now?
Right.
And but what's interesting is that what happened with me naturally is that people kept asking me, they kept pulling me out of retirement. That's what's happened every time I've tried to retire. People want to pull me out. It's like, yes, but I want to know what you know. And so one huge passion I have is teaching. I mean, just like teaching ballroom dance, teaching in general, like especially if it makes a big difference for life, it's a huge passion of mine. That's why I do the podcast show, that I do, right? Because I
Right.
love teaching. And I think that's the key. If you find out what you love doing and find a way to integrate that into your life now and also when you're financially free, I'll tell you, you'll probably get there faster because it's not as scary of a thing when you get there if you already know what you're going to do.
Right. That's so true, man. That's true. So it sounds like the first question a person has to ask themselves is, what is my purpose? What's my vision? What is my
Yeah,
why? A lot of people call it. Is that right?
exactly. And then you
That,
can figure out what the what is, like, the investments, what lines up with that, what matches. Because I mean, we all know. I mean, like the things you teach. I mean, people could retire fast. I mean, they really can. They've even got a little bit of money. They could do a lot of good, a lot of damage, right? A lot in a good way.
a lot of damage is a good analogy.
That's right. but but yeah, but it's got to be something that they know that really aligns with who they are and what they want to be doing. Like if it's something that they say, yeah, that seems like a headache to me, just like you said earlier, right? Oh,
Right.
I'd rather just flip burgers. Okay, well, find something that you would actually think this is kind of cool. This is fun. Even if you have hiccups, and I know you've had, it's not like everything's roses. Like you're going to run into issues from time to
Oh,
time.
that's so true, man. There's ups and downs, ebbs and flows. I mean,
Yeah.
we just went through a thing where we downsized. I mean, we were really top heavy in our business. We had 26 employees at one time.
Wow.
Now we're down to like 6 or 7, something like that. You know,
Right.
so and it can get away from you, right?
It sure can. It really can.
There's
And so
no
that's why you got to find something you actually like beyond the money, because you run into those kind of headaches, you're going to want to quit. Plain and simple, because no sane person in their mind would keep going and doing something that they hate that much, right? So
exactly.
that's why you got to find something you're like, this really intrigues me. And that's why even though some people I could be like, here, you just do this X, you do this investment, it pays you 10, 12%, whatever it is, boom, 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 boom. Cool. We got the numbers. You're retired, right? Like that's easy. But the hardest part is more like, okay, let's match this up. Let's make sure that we're creating a life that you don't feel like you need a vacation from, right? Like you really create a life that you will love when you get to that point.
That's awesome, man. I used to know a guy that if you ask him how he's doing, his standard answer was, I'm on vacation. No matter where he was or what he was doing, I'm on vacation. That was his life, though, right?
Yeah,
His whole life was a vacation. Yeah, he's a real estate investor. He's doing well, but his whole life was a vacation. So he kind of thought that up and like, yeah, my whole life is a vacation, right?
that's
So
funny. It's like when I tell people I was able to retire even just a couple more recently, a couple of years ago. But like, so you sold your business? Like, no, I still have my business. Well, how are you retired? You're still working. I'm like that's because you've never been there. You've never been retirement. Retirement, when I first retired, was the most boring, worst time of my life. Like there's no purpose to it, right?
I know you sit around and watch daytime TV. You know?
Yeah. And I found out too that everybody's different on how they like to work or spend their time with stuff. Because, like, for example, I do a lot of the cooking and cleaning. Like, I just got done cooking breakfast for my family, and then said, "All right, cool, I'm done. Got to go do an interview." And I ran upstairs after I rinsed off some dishes, and here I am, right?
That's
But
awesome, man. I
but
love
I
it.
found out with my time though, like I actually like working. My sweet spot is between 10 to 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Like if I work over 30, 40 hours, then I get burned out.
Right, right.
I know that's hashtag first world problems, right? But it's like, oh, I almost worked 40 hours this week.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I'll tell you, I've worked 5 hours before, and I lost the fire. I lost the passion in my life when I only worked five.
Yeah.
So I found out like, okay, I almost feel like so like the fire dwindles when I work too little. If I burn out, the fire burns me out when I work too much. Let's find that little sweet spot. And
Right.
everybody's different. Some people love working 40 plus hours a week. Others don't want to work that much at all.
So what do you think is the key for someone to find their own purpose, vision, or why?
you know, just start asking that question. Really like ask yourself, if money were no issue, what would I spend my time doing? Like, what am I really about? And don't force the answer. Like some people get stressed out. They're like, I don't know. Like, well, cool. Well, entertain it. Sit with the question. Let it sit with it for days or weeks. Like you've got time. In the meantime, let's start getting you financially free. But in the meantime, really start asking yourself, yeah, what is it? What is it that truly, I would want to spend my time doing, and get past the I don't want to call it rhetoric necessarily, but yeah, kind of like rhetoric, right? It would be dogma if it's religious, but yeah, get past the rhetoric of travel or spend time with family. Like, yeah, I'm sure you'll want to do all those things, but what is it that you really want to do? Like, really have to take yourself to that place to say, all right, I have the options. Now what?
Awesome. Awesome. When I ask myself that question, the first answer that comes to mind is be a rock star.
And what does that mean to you?
Yeah, just being able to get up and play the guitar, jam with people, play out every once in a while, but without the late nights and traveling.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And who says you can't do that? You
I
got
know,
exactly. To prove it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So tell us a little bit about some of the right investments that some of your listeners, your viewers, that you've helped them with, or that they're using to be able to realize their own purpose and vision.
Yeah, I brought up about a guy that wanted to do oil and gas, as a focus, like from Hawaii. I mean, it was hard because I really wanted him to do real estate, right? Like, and this is when I started to really question, like, okay, this is where I need to be more of a guide, not so much the guru that just tells you, here's what you need to do right now.
Sure.
And that it kept coming up. He kept getting that resistance to real estate, and I finally just said, let's just go with oil and gas then. Let's just do that. Now let's reduce your risk, because he was taking some really high risks in some of the deals he's doing. Like, here, I've got a better option for you. Here's one that spreads the risk out. Plus there's high return potential too. So it's higher risk, higher returns with lower risk, which is the perfect formula, right? And that's kind of what I like to try to find for people as well, is try to connect them up with those sources in case that's a good fit. So he was a great one there. Another lady, actually, it's funny. She first hired me because she was looking to expand her business. So she was working in her business. She was 55. And as we're working together, she said, this business coach I'm working with is pushing me to go bigger in my business. But I don't think I want to. I think I want to wind down, not wind up.
Right.
And so we started to dig more into that. And I was like, well, let's get you out of your business if you want to. Like, at least financially get you to a place where you could quit your business if you want, but only work because you choose to, right? Work because you want to, not because you have to.
Right.
And so we did. And so with her, we took the real estate route. We did more turnkey rentals and things like that, stuff that were more hands-off. She loved Alabama. And so we started focusing on the Birmingham area with her. And she got to the point where her passive income was like over $2,500 a month, which was just enough to all the other streams of income to get her to retire. And so it's been almost 2 years now. She went and retired to Bali. And she's now scuba diving and occasionally teaching yoga. She's like, I might even earn just a little bit of money just teaching yoga here and there just for fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But she doesn't have to work a day at all. Like, her business is basically non-existent now, And so that's the kind of stuff we do.
So she found a turnkey provider that sells turnkey properties in Birmingham and just started buying up properties.
Yeah. I just connected with her, that turnkey provider, said, here, try them out, see if they're a good fit. And they were, and it was perfect. And it's great. It's been awesome.
That's really good, man. I love it. I love it. That is awesome. What are some other things that you could share that people can do to earn passive income and find out, what they really want to do?
Yeah, I think the biggest, if they've been listening to your show at all, I mean, I'm sure they found several ways to do that, right? Whether it be active income or passive. Right. By the way, there's something to be said too. I mean, active income obviously is going to be a much higher returning venture. That's why I love about what you do and teach. Like, I talk to my clients, like, which one do you want to do? Do you want to be more of an active investor, or a part-time active investor, and a passive investor, or just a passive investor? And I get a mix. Like, some of them are like, I think I want to get really active into this kind of real estate investing, right? Whether it be like seller financing, they're doing wholesaling or whatever they're doing. And others, they're like, I think I want to just go the passive route. It's like, cool. Well, let's find out what that is. Do we do different types of notes or opportunities there? I have some people that just recently, like, I got really excited when I said, yeah, there's a group out there that does debt collections. Like, they buy debt collections for 3 cents on the dollar, from credit card companies where the people have gone delinquent. They take it. They have their own collection agency that they own as a company. They go and they call them up, and they might buy like a $25 million portfolio for 700 grand, and then turn around in the next year, get 2.5 million, 10% of that back.
Right.
They've tripled the returns, and they're like, hey, I'll pay you, 1% a month just to be the financer on these deals. And
right.
some people are like, that's awesome. Like, I would love that, and that's kind of cool. Like, if there's something that lights them up, they're like, regardless of the money, they're like, sounds really awesome. Then you tell them the return, then they're even more lit up. That's pretty cool, right? So that's something that just happened this week with one of my clients.
That is really cool. That's good. That's good. And I know you talk a little bit too about investing to pay yourself twice. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I remember like back in the day, like when I first started to learn from some of these millionaires, a lot of them were using like different savings vehicles than I was using. Like, for example, I was about investing in mutual funds or in different products like that, because I used to be a mutual fund salesman, right? So of course I bought and sold mutual funds.
Sure.
But like they're starting to say like, hey, you know what? This is what we do. We do this whole infinite banking type concept, like Nelson Nash, if you've heard of that. And they taught me the method, and it was pretty cool. And I remember I did it myself. And I remember I did I bought a pretty large policy, was dumping in a bunch of money, and they're just like, yeah, this is long term. It takes 5 to 10 years to fund it. And I remember asking in the very beginning, because I had sold insurance myself for the previous 4 years, I said, well, is there ways I can make this better, overfund it, increase the ROI? And the guy said, no, you can't. Like, you'll violate the tax laws. So I was like, all right, I'll just take it at face value. So I just did his thing. Well, the recession hit. All of a sudden, I can't afford to make these huge premiums. I had dumped in like 25 plus grand, couldn't make the premiums. There was zero cash in there, and I lost the policy.
Wow.
I later found out that what he had said was a total fallacy. It was false. And so I came back to him. I remember I had a 2-hour screaming match with him in his office. I ran my own numbers. I said, here's what I would do instead. Watch this. And like, you would have cash from day one, not year 3 before we have cash. Day one, we have cash in this thing. And I can beat all your numbers, have just as much death benefit, since that was his big concern, was more death benefit. I was like, I can do this just as good as you can. And they're safer. And so one thing, so using the strategy like whole life insurance was the strategy he was using. Well, I found ways to use it to where, you end up like having cash from not only day one, but it pretty much is like free insurance. Like, there's no charge to it all by the 3rd year.
Right.
So it's going super fast. The cool thing is because you can leverage it and borrow from it like you can do from a bank. You can actually create returns in 2 places at once, because the money's still growing and compounding in the policy. And you can take that same money and invest it somewhere else. So if I go and invest it in a real estate property, say it's paying me 12% a year. The thing is, I'm making another 4% on top of it with that life insurance policy. So I'm making 16% a year just by how I'm leveraging it. And the thing is, like every insurance agent, they don't want you to do it to that nth degree, because it cuts their commissions. Right. For me, I don't give a crap because I'm retired. So it's like, in fact, that was the second time I retired. That's what pulled me out of it. Was there was an investor. He was a neurosurgeon, wealthy multimillionaire, and he's like, you taught me this strategy, and it's freaking awesome. Like, I need you to teach the people that ask me questions. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I finally just said, hey, listen, if it doesn't take more than 5 hours a week out of my time, I'll do it. And I ended up having a lot of fun with it. Like, I kept perfecting it and getting better. I was like, dang, I'm doing this better than my own policy that I created. So I ended up doing a new policy for myself last year, doing the same method that I have all my clients do. And
that's
been
cool.
Awesome. Like, so yeah, like I dumped in 40 grand last year, but I can go and take out, 30 some odd grand and go and put a down payment on a property or whatever. Like, it's almost like
40 grand is still working for you. Plus you get the return on the property.
Exactly. Yeah. The money's still growing and as if nothing had happened to it. So it's awesome. It's
Plus there's a life benefit.
What's that?
Plus there's a life benefit, right?
Yeah. I mean, that obviously there's the death benefit, because once you die, right? But the cool thing, this is actually like a life benefit. Like, you can actually use it while you're alive and immediately start taking the cash flow from properties, use that as a down payment to cash flow, fund it back in, and just cycling money through it. And it becomes really a supercharged savings account. It's like a tax-free, because like if you look at a savings account, you earn 0.nothing% and you get taxed on that 0.nothing%.
Right.
Plus you're exposed to all creditors and lawsuits. Where this one, I can earn, like I said, like net, even after loaning, doing the loan and everything, I can net at least about 4% a year. It's tax-free. which by when you factor in the tax-free part, that almost rivals a mutual fund right there, based without all the waves.
Right.
And I'm actually more protected from creditors and lawsuits than almost any investment strategy I could be doing.
That's cool. Now, what part of it makes it tax free? Is it the contribution to it, the premiums, or what?
Yeah, it's taxed much like a Roth IRA. So you put in after-tax money, but it grows tax deferred, and you can pull it out tax-free.
Oh, okay. You can pull it out tax free. Now, is it a loan? You have to pay it back, or what?
You can do either. You can do a loan. Obviously, if you do the loan, that's easy. And that's the preferred method, especially if you're going to be cycling the money and stuff.
Right.
But you can even do withdrawals too, just like a savings account. The difference though is that unlike a Roth IRA, you have to wait till you're 59 and a half.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that here. There is no 59 and a half rule. Like you said, there's the death benefit part. That's like a pure bonus if you think about it that way. But also there's you can dump in way more than you can dump into a Roth. Like, for example, that neurosurgeon, we were having him dump in $500,000 a year. And I've got other people that are like bought policies on our grandkids dumping in like $1,000 a year, So
Right.
You can do all kinds of cool things with it.
That's cool. And just so the listeners understand and know, you mentioned a couple of things, a couple of names a minute ago. What specifically is that called?
Who else? What?
I said, what specifically is that called? Just so the viewers will understand.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's more commonly referred to as the infinite banking strategy.
Right.
I usually just refer to it as a supercharged savings account because I'll tell you, the infinite banking people out there, I mean, even when they do it, at best, the first year, you might see 50 or 60% of your money come back.
Right.
That's the most expensive year because whole life they put most of the insurance costs up front, right? The first 2 years especially.
Right.
I usually do it to where you get at least 75% in the first year. So I cut the cost even more than what most of those infinite bankers so-called do, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I love it. Man, I really appreciate this. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, how would they get in touch with you? Tell them about your show and what that's about so they can start watching your show.
Yeah, you can obviously follow the Chris Miles Money Show. It's on iTunes or any podcast app that you look up. The big thing with that, I teach really about a lot of different principles around business, investments, money, all the principles that are necessary to create financial freedom is a part of that. It's all about cash flow. That's my real key theme. You can also check out my website, moneyripples.com, MONEYRIPPLES.com, right? I've even got a free ebook on there called Beyond Rice and Beans, 7 Secrets to Free Up Cash Today. So if somebody's looking for ways to find more resources, that's a great free book that they can download there.
That's great, man. I love it. I really, really appreciate you being on today. This has been some really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's been an honor, man. I have fun. I love teaching with you.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, go check him out. Go check out his podcast. Go to his website and check him out and subscribe and leave him some good feedback too, and leave us some feedback while you're doing it. And we really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.